Hi. How do you hear me now? Better? I'm trying now with another computer, just in case that was a problem. What do you think? You can hear me better now, maybe? Or it's the same, maybe? We can try a Zoom call as you want. If you can write me just a word about the audio. Much better now? Really? Really? So, wonderful, wonderful. Sorry for the technical problems. It's not easy to connect from home, and I don't have the best connection here. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I think I'm going from the beginning. I would like to thank all the institutions that are making this possible, this reading. I want to thank Syracuse University College of Arts and Sciences. Yeah, I know. The New York State Council of the Arts, the Coalition of Museum and Art Centers at Syracuse University, CNW Arts, and Syracuse University's Department of Language, Literatures and Linguistics. And especially I would like to thank you all for being on the other side and for your patience with technology. I really would like to read some poems to you, some of them in Spanish and others in English. As I said before, I have published 4 books. 3 of them are books of poems, and I had also published a book of aphorisms, which is a book very connected with my lyrical work, but in prose. I will read especially poems from my last book, which is Chocar con algo. It's a book translated, now it's being translated by Lucina Shell, which is a wonderful translator from Chicago. There I'm going to publish a poem in June in Poetry, which is the magazine of the Poetry Foundation of Chicago. Okay, the poems I'm going to read today are going to be published in Corresponding Voices in the volume 13. The upcoming release of the magazine is now available for pre-order, so you can find the pre-order link in the chat. You can access to it maybe by the chat. The first poem I would like to read from home today, from my confinement here in Spain. I'm in Granada, which is a city at the south, a very interesting city for people that love poetry. We have a big poetry tradition here in Granada. Now I also teach at the university. I not only write poetry, I teach at the university, and there every student try to write poetry. I think we have a little difference between our city and other cities which love literature. If you travel all around the world, you will find very young people interested in writing, but they start writing short stories. In general, I think short stories. They are interested in prose. Maybe not teenagers, but when you are 20 years old, in general, you want to write a short story or a novel. It's not the same in Granada, in the city where I come from. If you live here, you will find students trying to write a poetry book in every corner. If you hit a stone, you will find a poet here. So it's a magnificent city if you are interested in lyrical word. The first poem I'm going to read, it's Abolirse. That's the title in English. In Spanish, sorry. I will read it before in Spanish. Abolirse. Se podría afirmar: yo soy mi cuerpo. Sin embargo, si perdiera la pierna derecha en una batalla, o huyendo de la batalla, o más bien en un estúpido accidente doméstico, seguiría siendo yo. También seguiría siéndolo si perdiera las dos piernas o incluso todos mis miembros. ¿Cuánto cuerpo tendría que perder para dejar de ser yo? Quizá una mínima parte de mí representaría al resto por sinécdoque, o quizá mis restos me convertirían en otra. Cortarte las uñas te modifica existencialmente. And the same poem in English, it's to obliterate oneself. It could be affirmed, I am my body. Nevertheless, if I lost my right leg in a battle, or fleeing from a battle, or more likely in stupid domestic accident, I would still be me. I would also still be me if I lost both my legs, or even all my limbs. How much body would I have to lose to cease being me? Perhaps a minimal part of me would represent the rest in a synecdoche, or perhaps my remains would transform me into someone else. Cutting your nails modifies you existentially. And from the same book is this short poem llamado Romper Eso. I don't know how many of you can understand Spanish, maybe all of you. In that case, I will speak in Spanish at the end, but now the reading, I prefer to do it in both languages, bilingual, but you can tell me your preferences by the chat. Romper eso. El terapeuta de otra me ha dicho que los españoles somos criaturas precartesianas. De ahí esa multitud de poetas y pintores que dan un salto de la cama y simplemente se ponen a hacerlo. No hemos sido siempre así. En el siglo XVI urdíamos ensayos sustanciales sobre el automatismo de las bestias y la estructura de las pasiones. Éramos ultramodernos. Yo antes amanecía dando un salto de la cama y ahora no puedo. Eso constituye un rasgo casi cartesiano. Si nunca saliera de la cama, estaría de vuelta antes de partir. Onetti practicaba muchísimo. Me esfuerzo mucho en ser una persona racional, pero los silogismos se me caen de las manos. Ten cuidado, no te das cuenta, vas a romper eso. Thank you, Dashel Hernández Guirado. Thank you very much. I will try to read the same poem, but now in English. The title in English is Break That. Someone's therapist once told me that the Spanish are pre-Cartesian creatures. Hence, the crowd of poets and painters that jump out of the bed and simply get to it. We haven't always been that way. In the 16th century, we plot substantial essays about the automatism of the beast and the structures of the passions. We were ultra-modern. I used to jump out of bed in the morning, and now I can't. That constitutes an almost Cartesian trait. If I never go out of the bed, I'd be on my way home before leaving. Onetti, practice this. I try very hard to be a rational person, but syllogism tumble from my hands. Be careful, don't you see? You are going to break that. Thank you, Josefa Álvarez. As I am from the south of Spain, I read with my Andalusian accent, which has some characteristics in common with the Spanish from Latin America. It's not the same, but we share some characteristics. So I don't know if you can feel that, but sometimes I think it's that way. The next poem I'm going to read is El guardapelo de las poetisas. And it starts this way. Para que nunca se les olvide, las poetisas llevan colgando del cuello el guardapelo vacío de las poetisas. ¿Qué hacer con su moño resignado y su crochet, su juego sin apuesta y su remilgo, con esa manía tan suya de escribir y tirarse de la enagua? Me prometí quitarle a su nombre la tachadura, como quien sabotea un cepo con un palo, no juzgarlas ni juzgar tampoco a quienes consintieron la demencia por un equívoco romántico. Esto último me cuesta mucho. Confesando que me gustan las sisas y los sismos y también sin medida lo contrario, me pregunto cuánto quedará en nosotros de su amor por la nadería. En inglés isabelino llamaban nothing a lo que ellas tenían entre los muslos. And in English is the locket of the poetesses. So as never to forget them, poets wear around their necks the empty lockets of the poetesses. What to do with their resigned burns and their crochet, their no-stakes games and their squeamishness, with that obsession so theirs of writing and throwing up their petticoats? I promised that I would uncross out their names, like one who sabotaged a trap with a stick, not to judge them, nor judge those who tolerated madness by romantic misstep. That last one is the hardest for me. Admitting that I like the S's and the isms, and also to some extent the opposite, I wonder how much remains in us of their love for trifles. In Elizabethan, I cannot say in English, in English, they used to say the word nothing for what was between their tides. And the poem El Cuidado. Los lápices que dejas de usar ruedan bajo los escritorios de las oficinas sin que nadie se agache a recogerlos. Cada vez que te agachas, aparece un burócrata que corre a darte un abrazo. Los niños y los burócratas saben leer el aura. El abrazo de un niño te deja más sola. Tienes tanta suerte que el trabajo y la familia te reclaman el cumplimiento de la ley por medio del amor. Pero eres mala, soy mala, descuidaría todo para cuidar de las palabras. Care. The pencils you set down roll under desks in offices where no one stoops to pick them up. Each time you stoop, a bureaucrat comes running to give you a hug. Children and bureaucrats know how to read the aura. A child's hug only leaves you lonelier. You are so lucky that your job and family demand your compliance with the law through love. But you are bad, I am bad, careless of everything so I can care for words. Now I'm going to read a poem that I wrote in Chile, in the desert of Antofagasta, and it's about a mummy. Antofagasta. La momia negra de Antofagasta, su piel como una sábana de limo, así tan pegadita al esqueleto. Es un músico sucio y desinflado. Si le pusiera un parche donde duele y le soplara por la boca, tal vez recobraría su volumen. Tendría que taparle la nariz, igual que se les hace a los ahogados. Cuando muere un sacerdote, más allá de la quebrada, forman cola en esta iglesia y lo despiden con un beso. ¿Habrá quien le desee la muerte para poder al fin besarlo? Una momia recobraría su volumen. Acabo de palparme a oscuras y llevo atado al pie mi propia soga. ¿Por dónde escapa el aire que me falta? Antofagasta. The black mummy of Antofagasta. Her skin like a sheet of silt, so stuck to her skeleton. She's a dirty, deflated doll. If you patched her where it hurts and blew into her mouth, perhaps she'd recover her volume. You'd have to hold her nose, as you do with the drowned. When a priest dies beyond the ravine, they line up in this church and bid him goodbye with a kiss. Would anyone wish him dead just for the chance to kiss him? A mummy would recover her volume. I just felt myself in darkness and found a rope around my foot. Where am I leaking the air I lack? Lugares que se inventan de camino. Nos gustaba impulsarnos de la mano y salpicarnos todo el eros de política, como en aquella foto movida y entusiasta, que nos hicieron saltando en multitud. Solo después supimos a dónde. Cada salto inventaba su lugar. ¿Y si rompemos esto?, nos decíamos, y luego lo volvemos dulcemente a construir? Estábamos desnudos, estábamos furiosos y queríamos llevarnos las obras a casa. Con el paso del tiempo, nuestros cuerpos detenidos transparentaron el paisaje o nos caímos de la fotografía por un agujero que nadie esperaba. De lo que hicimos queda el lugar, un aire eufórico y algo hecho añicos que aún respira. La historia cruje y la hostigamos. Amor es una escala de violencia. Places invented along the way. We liked to pull each other by the hand and splash all our heroes with politics. Like in that blurry and excited photo they took of us jumping as a group. Only later did we know where. Each jump invents its landing place. And if we break this, we should say, and later sweetly rebuild it. We were naked, we were furious, and we wanted to take the leftovers home. Over time, the landscape showed through our trapped bodies, or we fell out of the photograph through an opening no one noticed. And all we did, the place remains, euphoric care and something shattered that still breathes. History crunches, and we harass it. Love is a scale of violence. I think from now I'm going to read only in Spanish and maybe at the end one poem in English. I will do it very slowly so that you can follow me. Fiesta de la que te quieres ir. Tenías una forma evasiva de circular entre nosotros. Fuiste lo que se pierde en cada movimiento. Y sin embargo eras tangible, como aquella nube que una escultora hizo surgir en el centro de una habitación vacía. Eras tu itinerancia. ¿Sabes cuánto resiste en el éter una sílaba o un golpe de pañuelo? Se me olvidó que la carne rehuye y seguí el rastro de las cosas que ibas haciendo. Las velas, el confeti, tu contorno emborronado. Tenía tantas ganas de soplar. Los deseantes desvanecemos el mundo para permanecer. Es detestable. Por eso te lo pedí. Infla este globo. Y en vez de hacerle un nudo, lo abrí despacio y respiré el aire que lo llenaba. I will write now. I will read a poem, a prose poem from El Falso Techo, which is my second book. I will do it in Spanish, and the poem is Carga y Descarga. I wrote many poems about planes and airports, and this one is about the technical workers of the airports. Carga y descarga. Los técnicos de equipaje caminan erguidos, a cámara lenta, con la figura desdibujada por el calor de los motores. Llevan cascos amarillos para aislarse de un estruendo que tampoco se escucha dentro del avión. Película muda a ambos lados de la ventanilla. Los técnicos de equipaje vienen de Bolivia, Marruecos, Zambia. Cargan, descargan maletas que han hecho tantos kilómetros como ellos, pero mucho más rápido. Las maletas no necesitan pasaportes, visado, asilo. Tienen código de barras. Los técnicos de equipaje se fajan la cintura como un luchador de sumo antes de salir al ring. Son hermosos, como eran hermosos los proletarios de Pasolini, que los imaginó hedonistas con un clasismo a su manera. Pasolini, al que escupieron, violaron, lincharon. Pasolini, que también era hermoso a su manera. Los técnicos de equipaje visten monos azules, aunque la empresa que los contrata cultiva el respeto a la diferencia. Cuando salen, llevan todos los mismos vaqueros, zapatillas, camisetas estampadas. El capitalismo es un uniforme. Los técnicos de equipaje son muy feos porque lo perdieron todo y viajaron para comer basura, para cargar, descargar maletas hasta volverse feos. Miran a los pasajeros que los miran a través de la ventanilla y piensan: qué hermosos, qué feos son, mientras trasladan nuestras maletas con souvenirs procedentes de Bolivia, Marruecos, Zambia, donde fuimos a hacer juegos de supervivencia. Los técnicos de equipaje saben que 4 maletas pesan igual que el cuerpo de un técnico de equipaje. Y del mismo libro es un poema que se titula Turismo. Aterricé en Etiopía y fui a hacerme la pedicura. Me lo ofrecieron y acepté, para que nadie se ofendiera. Permitiría cosas atroces con tal de que nadie se ofendiera. Permití que Betty se arrodillara. Ese era su nombre, me dijo. ¿Quién se llama así en Etiopía? Permití que Betty se arrodillara y me limpiara el talón y el tobillo y la planta del pie y los dedos y también las uñas. Permití que limase todo lo feo que había en mí, que se arrodillara. Detesto pintarme las uñas, pero no le pedí que lo dejara. Le pedí que escogiera un color. Ponme tu favorito. Como si ceder la iniciativa rompiera algo, la relación de Betty conmigo. Eligió el rosa chicle de mi camisa. Acepto que me sirvan cerveza, que cultiven lo que como y cosan lo que visto. Acepté que me hicieran la pedicura. Tan solo hay una diferencia simbólica, pensé. Eso pensé, simbólica. Y dejé a Betty que siguiera. I was thinking also about reading a last poem in English. But I can also, if you want, answer some of your questions now. I don't know, what do you prefer? We can have a little chat or a last poem. What do you prefer? Maybe a last poem in English before? Okay, I will do it. Looking through. First, I accumulate keys because many people trust me, and their trust is a pillow where those things of which I was never capable rest their head. Second, I accumulate keys because I spread through dispersion since I stepped over the crack of my new employment horizon, traveling to several cities to complete very urgent tasks of no demonstrated utility. Third, I accumulate keys because their weight in my pocket relieves me of a generic and telltale fear of not being able to enter. Behind the fear, there is always a guy in ambush, grasping his trench coat. Fourth, I accumulate keys because I enjoy the suffering confusing them causes me when I try to open and someone sees me venerating the lock. Last, I accumulate keys until the places they open disappear, and the next places still open begin to appear who knows where. An accumulation of keys, like an accumulation of hypotheses, reveals that the truth exists, but it has something of an ectoplasm. The perspective can't be maintained. If you put your eye on a keyhole, it returns your gaze. And changing of idea, instead of reading the same poem in Spanish, I think I prefer to read another poem in Spanish. I'm mixing here languages, sorry for doing that. And that poem will be La Casa Encima. That's the name of my second book. Tanto siglo removiendo esta tierra que atravesó el ganado y alimentó al ganado y a los hombres que regaron esta tierra con el curso negro de su sangre. La sangre cambia de color cuando sale del cuerpo. Tanto siglo alineando ladrillo. Aquí hubo un establo sobre el que se construyó una iglesia, sobre la que se construyó una fábrica, sobre la que se construyó un cementerio, sobre el que se construyó un edificio de protección no oficial. Tantas mujeres fregando sus baldosas, pariendo en sus baldosas, escondiendo la mierda debajo de las baldosas, que pisaron su hijo ebrio y sus sobrios maridos, que trabajaron y fornicaron por el bien de un país en el que no creían. Tantos siglos para que yo, miembro de una generación prescindible, pierda la fe en la emancipación, mire el techo de mi dormitorio y se me venga la casa encima. And that's all, people. Thank you very much for being there. I think I have mixed some poems in English and some poems in Spanish. And maybe I can answer some questions to you, or I can talk about my books or my experience of writing here. My poetic inspirations or influences, I think, as many poets, I find inspiration in the little things of the world, not only in other poets or poems, but only in being alive. I think everyone is inspired, but only poets want to write with that inspiration. I tend to say that when I was younger, I thought that inspiration was not true. I was very, I don't know, against. I was very against inspiration because I preferred to believe in that times that you can work and work and work in a poem and you will find it. But after some years and even a decade writing, I have to say that some of the poems I have written, they came in half an hour, not complete. Always, even with that poems, you have to correct them, not tomorrow, but the next month, and even during some years you have to correct it. But okay, I wrote them in half an hour, and probably that's what people call inspiration. So if I am against inspiration, but I am writing poems by inspiration, I have to think about the conflict. What I think about that? I think that a poem is not written in the moment you put your pencil in the paper. You are not writing the poem only in that moment. I think you are writing the poem probably during the past years, or even from the beginning of your rational life. But you didn't notice it. You don't know it till the moment you start to write it in the paper. But you know, poems are written with your unconsciousness, and poems are written about certain things you think, but maybe you don't know that you think them. Things that you hear, and music that is inside you, and sometimes something happens outside. Someone tells you something, or you have a vision, an image of whatever. It can be a very simple thing, and you receive like a shot, and all the pieces that were working inside you crash, and then the poem start to be what it is going to be in the future. So we call inspiration to the crash of all that pieces, but you are writing really a long time before that moment. That's what I think about inspiration. Okay, I will pick up another question, and I will try to answer in my hard English. Sorry for that. What I think about the isolation, if it's changing my process of writing? Thank you, Tere, for the question. I think there are many ways of writing. Even I was going to say that there is a way of writing for each poet, but that's not truth. That's not a truth. You can have even more than one way of writing, being one poet in all your life, in different moments of your life, or even in your present. I used to write in any occasion, like traveling in a bus or in a train, or in isolation in my house at home. But now in isolation, I'm like trying to do it as people that only can do it if it's not interrupted. Isolation in many ways it's a fallacy, but because we are connected not only with the people by phone and by the internet. We are very connected by the internet and by phone to our beloved one, and also to people that we don't know. But I think that to write, it's also to connect with voices that are very far from you, that exceed you, that are universal voices, external voices. And when you write, you try to connect with that voices that are there, like in the air. So you are not isolated, or not totally isolated. It's a way to be linked with the world, to write. I think so. So it's a good thing to do when you are in confinement, when you cannot go with your body outside. It's a good way to exist, and of course to survive. It's the best way I know to survive. Probably for you it's the same. You can compose songs, you can create, you can sing. That's a way of connecting with other human beings, with other people that has tried the same in all history. Josefa Álvarez pregunta qué papel juega la filosofía en mi poesía. Voy a contestar en español esta pregunta. Yo creo que la filosofía tiene que ver con toda la poesía. Es solo que, como yo además de poeta soy aforista, creo que integro de una forma más explícita el pensamiento filosófico dentro de mi obra lírica. Yo creo que hay, digamos, ideas, pero esas ideas están atravesadas por la música, y creo que algo mucho más importante que eso no es solo que las ideas estén atravesadas por la música, es que las ideas aparecen rotas, aparecen atravesadas por una especie de crisis de lo lógico, por un movimiento que va más allá de lo lógico, que es el de la propia poesía. De hecho, creo que la poesía cuestiona la lógica convencional y la trabaja desde un lugar que no es exactamente el del pensamiento, pero sí, por supuesto que está atravesada por el pensamiento. Yo diría que por un pensamiento roto, quizá, por un pensamiento roto, con esos pedazos, con la música que hacen esos pedazos, los del pensamiento roto, es con la que yo trabajo en mis poemas. No sé si maybe you can ask a last question and for this beautiful event. Thank you, Josefa. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you. So I think this is going to be all. Do you want a last question, maybe? I don't know if you hear me now, but maybe I can answer a last question if you want. It would be great to know how are you doing there. Okay, the connection with Lorca. Okay, and the question of Kathy. Thank you, Kathy, for your question. What are the advantages of expressing yourself politically through poetry? Again, I think a language is political, so to use language as a tool is to be political, but the political element of poetry is not in the surface, it's inside poetry. It's in its emotional architecture, inside that emotional architecture So I think in my poetry I try to accept that element in an explicit way, but even some poets that think they are not writing in a political way, they are doing it because language is political. So that's where I think the political element, it's not the argument, the content, but it's very, very deep in the poem. I don't know if that's enough, but that's what I think. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Thank you for the question. And about my connection with Lorca. Yes, I think so, Kathy. Everyone is political when it's using languages, so you can assume that or not assume that. I really assume that in my poems. I'm very explicit about that. But in a deep way, or not in a very clear way, And the question about Lorca, what I think about that, it's impossible not to grow up reading Lorca in Spain. And can you imagine in Granada? When I was a teenager, I was reading all the time Lorca. They read Lorca in school, and if you are interested in poetry, you are in love when you are a teenager with him. I'm still in love with him. It's not easy because he's very, very present in our tradition. So sometimes you have to travel far from him and not to be too much influenced. I'm not sure if I am. I hope so. I really hope so, but not in a very clear way, like I have said about the political element. But I think in Spain, every poet has read with love Lorca, and try not to be very close to him when writing. Okay. I think that's all for today. I would like to thank again you to be there and to be so patient for the technical problems and for my English. But it has been difficult, but a real pleasure to be here reading poetry. Thank you, Dashel. Thank you, all the people of Point of Contact Gallery and of Syracuse University. You are so kind. You are so kind. I hope to see you in person in some Cruel April series, but if not, I will see you in other chance. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. See you here in your page of Facebook, and good luck. Take care, please. Take care. See you. Thank you, Jules. Bye. Be careful. Ciao.